I just want to start off by thanking everyone. I honestly didn't think this would be such a big deal, but it turned out to be, and that's the only reason I'm doing this tutorial. Um, my build is very anal on the loadouts, so if you try to replace anything or try and put something else instead of something that I put, you might not be able to. That's just a little disclaimer. Another thing is, if you're not into the new island quest, at least 2 or 3 days in, you might not have two of the buildings that I used. So just watch out for that as well. I'll be doing step by step with you guys instead of just throwing a big bunch of lists of items in your face. That way, I hopefully makes it easier for you. And I'm gonna start off with showing you guys where I placed my house, and then we'll go from there. So we have my whole town. About to delete it all just to show you guys how to do it. I like to put my house on this spot. I'm gonna turn on the grid. The second stone on the back you see is where I start, and then I go two down and then two to the right, and that's where your house should be placed. And right here, I like to start off by turning on the grid and then putting the stone right in the center of the house. Right here, it's a little off put, so just make sure it's in the center. And then I like to go a pattern of one big thing, and then two small things, and then repeat the pattern as I go. Make sure you get the right smaller ones. There are two different ones, and you want the ones that have the squares in the middle. That way you can connect them, and it'll look nice, and not just like the path randomly ends. And I'm gonna do this. I won't talk. I'll just time lapse it, and you guys can see at the end. Alright, I slowed it down here just because this is the only part of the path that gets different. I still put down two, but then I still put down another two just because this is where the path is going to change. I could have put down two big ones, but you know, my OCD would have gone crazy and I just chose not to, but yeah. This is another part of the path that's going to be a little bit different. I put down two again. The path isn't changing, it's just necessarily for a building that we're going to put on later on in the video. So that's just for you guys' information so you don't get confused. Once we finish the main path, head down to the bottom left and place down four big ones. This is for a building that we're going to place later on in the video. Now that that's done, we're going to start fencing the house. You want to make sure your fences are 2 tiles above or next to the path. That way you have enough space for the trees and flowers. Make sure also that you have the fence that has the 2 poles. That way you can just connect and not keep buying the pole ones. That way you don't waste a lot of load because they do cost more than the other ones. I usually do the fences in the front, and depending on how many I want going towards the back, I will just put rocks in the back. That way the path just ends and I won't have a lot of load wasted on just fences. Now we're going to start decorating the house a bit. I like to use this big tree, the Serenitea tree. It doesn't really matter what trees you use, but you gotta be careful because they all have pretty different loadouts. These are the trees that I'm using. I know most of you just want to straight up copy it, so this is what I'm using. I don't want to really say all the names of the trees, but they're on the top left if you're wondering what they're called, and also just try and go from the icon. A lot of these are available in the shop, so just if you have leftover coins or anything, just buy them from the shop. Here I am putting the rocks to end the path of the gate. It's really up to you where you want to end it. You could pour more rocks and end it earlier than I did, but I kind of wanted to have rocks as the background. That way they would block the view of like the uglier parts of the town. But yeah, it's completely up to you. This is just a little disclaimer. The reason I'm using these lamps are due to them having the lowest loadout. Please be aware that if you use the other lamps, you might not be able to put everything that I put into the town. For some reason, the other two are worth a lot. I'm not sure why. So I know I would prefer the stone one, honestly, but this still gives the same effect, feeling, whatever, with less cost of the load. So I would prefer using this one. And I'm also telling you guys just to be wary that if you do decide to use them, it's going to cost more. Right here, we're gonna go into the diagonal building that we're gonna put on top of the 4-tiled piece that we put down earlier. I like to have it a diagonal. You guys honestly don't have to. I just did it because I felt like it made the town feel a little bit more open instead of just being pretty straightforward side to side kind of feel. Completely up to you guys though. But yeah, this is the piece that belongs on here. Just be aware for a lot of these things, especially the flowers, you might want to take the grid off. That way you can place it where it kind of belongs. I had to take it off because it was being it kept like snapping into a thing I didn't want it to snap to, so just be aware. This little section's a little difficult. You gotta place the tree in a certain way where everything else is gonna fit, because we are gonna put a couple things in this little area. Don't worry too much about it. There is a trick to place things, but this is the way I did it. I try to be a little bit more aware of where I put things. The flowers do fit in the corner. If they don't fit, it's due to them snapping to the building. So you might have to take snapping furniture off or take the grid off if you still have it on. But also you might want to have to, like me, put the tree a little bit more to the left. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did end up changing this little design that I'm doing right now with light flowers, light flowers. Towards the end of the video, I did change it to flowers, light, flowers, light. That way I could just have more flowers, but you can honestly keep it this way. It doesn't change anything of the loadout. It was just my personal preference to change it. If you haven't already, I would turn on grid back again, just so it will make the lamps snap to the building much easier. And honestly, it's perfect. I don't have to do much. If you're readjusting like I am, my LCD kind of went off. I noticed the flowers were a little not straight, so yeah. Again, we're gonna place trees. These are the ones I placed. Of course, you can place wherever you want them. Try and place the same ones that I did in the area, at least. Even if you don't want them in the same order and the same placement as I did. Try and place the same ones. That way we can keep the loadout that I kept, and we don't have any problems running towards the end of the video. Around this part, I'm going to show you a little trick that I learned literally not a couple days ago. um, I really want to put the fence a little bit closer to the path, but I can't. It's red. So there's this little trick where you just kind of go back and forth between a spot you can't put something and a spot you can't. And eventually it should turn all blue. And once that happens, place the fence not necessarily touching the path, but just enough where it looks like it belongs there, and not just that it's stuck to the pavement. We're gonna do the same thing except with the path. That way we can put it inside the little doorway. Try not to worry about it adjusting it. It should immediately snap on if you place the house correctly where I did. And yeah, try not to worry too much about it. Again, we're gonna start placing trees. Like I said before, try and keep the same trees that I use. That way we keep the loadout consistent and not have to worry about it later. But yeah. Uh, if you don't have grid on, turn it on right now. These things should honestly just snap really easily. Make sure it's the top of the roof of this one isn't stuck to the side of the house. I kind of spaced it out that way to be open. And this one I angled it a bit just so it could feel like it's coming in together and not just by itself. And I'm just gonna adjust a couple more things. You guys have seen throughout the video that I adjust a lot of things, so try not to worry so much about it. Usually I'll stop the video in an area that I feel is necessary to talk, so I don't feel like you're missing anything. But yeah. Oh, I will say this is the only lamp that I used that isn't part of the other ones. For some reason, I like how this one looks with the little selling places. I don't really like how the other ones look. And also, I didn't have a spare one, so if you happen to have a spare one, go ahead and use it. That's just me being lazy. I'm gonna start placing the houses down now. I'm gonna use the UA one. There's two of them look kind of similar, but get the one that doesn't have the chimney. That's the other one is the one you're gonna want to use because it's lesser lower out than the other one. We're gonna do this little same trick again, and the reason why is because I want the poles that stick out in the front of the door to kind of be touching the pavement, and also you're gonna want to try and center it. That way it looks good coming into it. You kind of want to adjust your angle a bit. I kind of messed up here, oops. But yeah, just try and have it centered in the pavement, and just try and have the poles and the stairs touching the pavement. We're gonna do the same trick but with the bush. I want to put the bush right next to the window. I can't obviously because it's close to the pavement and it won't let me. So just keep doing it. Try and be wary of where you also do it. I try to do it in a spot where I wasn't even doing it, so try not to waste your time. Oh, I should have probably done this before I even put the house down, but as I'm about to show you, you're going to want to put down a path. That way there's a path leading to the door. You're going to do the same trick as we did at the other house where you did the little shaky shake and then just connect the house to the path, and it should be easy. And we're going to be doing this with also the potted plant that we're going to put inside. So if anything, please put down the path first. That way you don't have to suffer and readjust the house as you're about to see me do. With this house, you're gonna have the freedom to basically snap it or do the trick. That way you can put it where you want. It's really up to you how you want it. If you want to put the decorations that I'm gonna put in front of the house, or do it exactly as I am, but feel free to do whatever. In this little section, do the same thing with the lamp. That way we can put it in between the two houses. If you try to do it by itself, you'll get the little error because the blue house is really up front. Right here, I decided to change my mind. It's up to you if you want to put it there or there. It's up to you. My way isn't the only way. Just like I said, try and keep using the same items that I am. That way we have the same loadout. Right here, we're gonna get started on the other side. I'm gonna put my little fruit stand first before anything. You can put it however you want. I decided to put it this way just because it's pleasing to me. I'm not sure why. I just like the light standing out. It makes the place feel more alive. With the path, you want to follow basically the same path. One big one, two small ones, and then one big one again. Don't worry too much about it looking weird. We're gonna place down buildings on top of it anyway, so no one's really gonna see it. So don't worry too much about it. Right here, I'm going to do the trick to kind of combine the buildings together a little bit better. It's completely up to you though, you don't have to do this. You can just have them next to each other how they were. I just chose to do them this way because I wanted to, and yeah. Right here, we're going to start on the last thing we're going to place down, which is basically the little shrine house. You basically want all big ones except for the center. The center, you want 4 small ones. Don't have them facing each other, really. Have them facing apart from one another, kind of leading towards the temple. That way it feels like it's going in and it's not just like a brick. The top 2 you won't really have to worry about because they're going to be covered up anyway. So just worry about the bottom 2. It's completely optional how far back or how far front you want it. But the one thing I do want you guys to focus on is take off the grid, and you'll see that the ground is kind of like, it should be centered with the stairs. That way it looks good. That's just the me thing. Very small attention to detail kind of person. But that's just the thing. But it's also due to the symmetry that we're about to do with the lamps and the plants that we're about to put outside the temple. Don't worry about me. This is around the area where I told you guys that I changed the design of the little plant thing earlier because I realized that I was one lamp short. So try not to worry about this too much. This is just me finding out that I messed up. Like I said, if you have an extra lamp, go ahead and do it that way. This is just me realizing that I ran out of materials and I was too lazy to make more. So. Right here, you can do the trick to put the lamps a little bit more in if you want. I chose to put them where I wanted to. Up to you though, completely optional. My way's not the right way. I usually like to let them snap to the stairs if you place them correctly because they place perfectly and symmetrical. And we're going to do the same trick with the plants. Again, you can place them however you want. I chose to put them right in front of the windows because I thought they looked nice. I did mess up the symmetry though. I forgot to rotate it before I fully placed it down, and then I got too lazy to remove it because then I have to remove the temple and then I have to put the temple back and then put the plant again. So just be careful. If you want to kind of rotate them, that way they don't look the same. Rotate it before you place it down because then you can't grab it again. Right here I'm placing one of the last trees. This is just for a visual effect. That way if people decide to look this direction, it looks nice from the background. You can place it wherever you want, honestly. This is just the me thing. I noticed that if I look that direction, there's like an ugly hole. So I just put that there to kind of like fill up the space. Completely optional though, completely optional tree. Like I said, you can put anything else you want there. If you want to do the trick and put something else closer, that's fine too. Kind of the same thing here. I'm gonna put down a mountain. Put down a mountain. That way I can put a tree on top of it. That way, if they look up, people will also just have something nice to see, and it kind of just brings the whole town together. It makes it feel closed off. It doesn't make it feel like there's like a hole somewhere. And like I said, completely optional. You can put something else back here. With me, I just chose this tree. If you didn't use this tree, you'll probably have more let out for other things, but completely up to you. And once that tree is down, honestly, we are done. I'm only gonna be editing a couple things. I'm gonna be editing the thing I told you guys about, the flower thing. But thank you guys so much for watching. I am sorry this is much longer than it needed to be, but I feel like since I put a lot of detail into this, the video was longer, even if I do speed it up in these kind of parts. But yeah, if you guys want more stuff from me, please let me know. This was actually really fun. I'll probably make more in the future. Probably not this part of town anymore. I do want to decorate the other parts of town, but this part of town, honestly, just leached out all the materials I had to build. So I'm probably gonna have to stock up again, and then I'll be back. So thank you guys so much, and everyone enjoy your towns.